Hey guys, what's going on? It's Sorrowful here, and I figured
Today is a good day to die.
I'm just playing. I figured today would be a good day to show you guys my keyboard layout. I know it's been asked about a couple times here and there, and I think it's about time I show you guys. I mean, it's nothing special, nothing to hide really, but it is very unique, I feel, and it's something I keep consistent within all of the characters that I create and play. Now, a lot of you guys or all of you guys might not know this, but the first thing I do on a new character is change up the keyboard layout anyway. So in the F1s and no, all the way down to F8, I will not pass F8 though, so this is my capacity pretty much. I use my mounts and stuff like that. My main two mounts usually go on F1 and F2. The rest I do not even use, but they're just there, for I guess convenience purposes if I ever wanted to show off. F9, always my tots know-how. F10, always my messenger. F11, I don't usually have anything on it. I don't even know what the sky thing is. I think it's the new system that they brought out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that because I like keeping a F11 clean. F12, I always have to keep empty because my F12 is my fraps button to start recording. So yeah, I don't want to be pressing anything and having, something uh, a UI pop up when I just start recording and stuff like that. Escape you can't change, so that's obviously main menu. Uh, when you first start and your keyboard is clean, this button, I don't know what the hell this thing is called. I think it's an apostrophe. Your apostrophe button will always be cash out by default. I make sure to remove that crap because that is annoying when you press it by accident. So I make sure my sit button is there, or for some classes that have those on and off skills, like the skills that you toggle on and off, for example, Ice Lightning level 150 hyper skill, sometimes I'll put it in this slot, but that's very rare. That's only on a class where I don't have a chair on or something like that, and I'll go ahead and put this button for a skill. My 1 to 6 is my different chats. So you got to all, to party, to friend, to guild, to alliance, to spouse. Something I kind of try to do is keep a lot of skills in their default settings, so I don't have to switch them all around like a beast or something, because that'd just be too annoying with the amount of classes I make. So these are by default, where they are 7890. I always keep empty. Now this one, the dash button, is a little bit different on some of my characters. For a lot of my characters, I do have the dash button as attack, your regular attack skill, or sometimes I have my regular attack key on, D, because for my Wind Archer, he's the only one that has this link skill, so this is what I keep D for him. Night's Watch, Mihal's link skill. But so yeah, I might have my attack skill on D, or most of the time it's on dash. That's just the way I like it. Equals is either nothing or GMS medals. So it's either nothing or GMS medals across all my characters. Tab is something you can't change, so I keep that on toggle tabs, obviously. Q for quest, W for world map, standard. E for equipment, that's standard as well, default. R for buddy. A lot of people I know put, B for buddy, so they put their buddy list on B, but I'm not like that. I like keeping it default. I got used to the R button since the beginning, and that's the way it's going to stay for me. My T and Y buttons, these two buttons are always, um, they're always a skill that I don't use, too often. For my thief classes, sudden raid will always be on T or Y, and then the other one would be like always usually a hyper skill of some sort. So like for my Night Lord, it'll be T sudden raid, Y would be the level 200 hyper skill, pretty much the adventure version of this skill. So T and Y are always, kind of my flexible pick buttons, and I really, really like having, these two skills, or two, you know, not too often used skills in these buttons. It just feels really convenient for me, and I got really used to it, and I like that. U is my monster book. It's always my monster book button on all my characters and my accounts. I, standard, default, inventory. I always have my profession tab on O. It's as soon as the profession tab came out, I automatically put it to O because I know I had no use for the button O. So I'm like, why not? So P is my party tab, standard there. My A button is always a skill that I use pretty often. You know, it's hard to explain, but whenever I think of the A button, I could recall what the A button is on so many different accounts. Like for my Shadower, the A button is flip of the coin. For my Cannoneer, the A button is Monkey Wave, that big drum skill. You know, um, for my Night Lord, I think A is the hyper skill that's actually this. So I was wrong about it being on Y on my Night Lord. Instead on Y I have my um it might be Dark Sight or some skill like that, a skill that I don't use often. But so yeah, my A is just that super convenient button. Is super close to my main attack key, which you guys are gonna see soon. Or you guys could already see it, but it's just super convenient, the A button, and I really like the the skill choices that I put on my A. It just seems really convenient and super comfortable for me, and that's the main thing I try to go for, is comfort, and you know, how often I use that skill. The more often I use it, I want to have it in a more convenient place. So yeah, that's kind of how I roll. S is character stats. I don't think that's standard. I think standard for that is no, I think that is standard. Yeah, S is standard default. You know, your character stats. D, like I said, is either it's usually my like I have a random skill on there that I don't use too often, or I have my my attack key, like I said before, but in this case I have a skill, my Night Lord, not my Night Lord, because I see Night Light M there, but it's my me housing skill, so that's super convenient. I love this button for it, and I just think it suits it perfect. I might be weird in that sense, where I feel like a button could suit a skill perfectly, but I don't know, it just feels right, and when it feels right for me, I know that's the right key for it. My F is always going to be my Echo on the few characters that I have Echo on. G always Guild Tab, H always Whisper. These two are default. You know, it just feels super comfortable, super right. J is always my NPC chat ever since NPC chat came out. Before I used to have my attack button always on J for all my characters, but ever since NPC chat came out, I had to, you know, reconfigure that. And so J is always my NPC chat / harvest button, and it just feels super right on there. K is my skill tab. L is always my helper. I don't know why, but ever since I started this game, I always found this helper button useful, and I always made use of it. And it's just a part of my journey ever since I began MapleStory. And I don't use it too much now because, let's be honest, who the hell does quests these days? But I still have it there just because I don't have a use for the button L anyways, so I might as well keep helper there. Next we got Shift. Shift is my main attack skill button for pretty much all my characters, except for characters that have a skill like Hurricane. I just feel like Hurricane, it just feels so comfortable, you know, holding down control for Hurricane skills. And so, you know, for Bowman classes pretty much, I have, you know, my main attack skill on control because it's usually a Hurricane skill. And then my main mobbing skill would be on Shift. Well, it would be on control, but in this case it's shift because these two are shifted around. Um, so for 90% of my classes, shift is my main attack skill. Control would be my main mobbing skill. So yeah, as you guys could probably use my Night Lord as a perfect example of this. I have quadruple throw on shift, and then I have that fourth job new mobbing skill on control. I don't remember the name of it, but it's probably like something curse or whatever. But so yeah, that's the configuration for me on these two skills. These are my two main buttons that I press most of the time, you know, aside from buffs. But anyway, moving on. Z, you know, default pickup button. I'm just gonna tell this person, you know, to hold on a bit. X for X to N are always my buffs. I always have extra buffs there. These are usually where the third and fourth job buffs come in, depending on the class and how many buffs that class has. But these are pretty much my fourth job and third job, and sometimes even hyper skill buffs are right here in this X to N position. Very rarely on like some classes that don't have many buffs, I'll have all of this for free, so I'll assign, you know, attacking skills to these slots. So this is my buff area for the most part though, and it's just super convenient how there's 5 slots there. It just feels so right. and it's really good. But M is always my mini map. I think that's default. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's default. Alt is always my jump. I know alt's like that super changed key slot from person to person, from player to player. I know people that have jump on space. I know people that have jump on like T. Some people even have it in the number section. Some people even have it in the F section. So jump is just jumping all over the damn keyboard from player to player. But me, I keep it simple. I keep it standard default. My alt is jump, and jump is my alt. So yeah, I really like that button. It's just something I got used to when I first started playing this game, and I don't see any reason to change that. Spacebar is always going to be that hyper skill. No, not hyper skill. That huge ultimate attack. So Genesis, Nautilus Strike, Monsoon, the super big skill that mobs like a mofo and, attacks like a billion mobs at once. That's always my spacebar. That's just how it is for me. Ever since I started MapleStory, that's how it's been from day one. So I have no reason to change that. I got so used to it. It feels super comfortable for me, and that's just the way it's going to be, and it's the way it's going to stay. Uh, a quick reason why I don't have like these emoticons up here or expressions up here are because usually for most of my characters my face is mostly covered, so I don't really use these at all. And even since the beginning of time in MapleStory, I wasn't one to really use these. I'd always be that one person that said F3 as opposed to actually using the emoticon. So yeah, I'm just that kind of guy. Or I'd say F2, or I say F5. But for the most part, I've never used these, and I don't ever intend to. Um, so yeah, that's why. And I feel like mounts should just be up here. They belong up here. I know a lot of people have chairs up here for like F1 to F10. They have like a bunch of different chairs, their favorite chairs. I think that's a pretty cool idea too. But instead of chairs, I have mounts up there. So yeah. Moving on, insert. We always have, way back before power elixirs were so common and so easy to get. I'd have my HP pot on insert and my MP pot on delete. So that's like the OG keyboard for me, with HP up here, MP down here. That's just how I rolled. But now, since all I use all day is power elixirs and regular elixirs, I only need one button for it, and that actually is so perfect because that one button, that one slot was something I definitely needed on like all my characters. So it's really good at how it worked out. But so I have my pot button is always delete, no matter what, no matter where, no matter when. My pot button is always delete. If I'm playing on a noob class of mine that I only have like 20 mana pots and 20 HP pots, then I'll revert back to the OG times where I had the HP pots on insert and MP pots on delete. But for the most part, insert is usually a skill button of mine. Usually it's a skill that has a cooldown, so I could just see the cooldown down here whenever I use that skill. Or in this case, it's my hyper skill. It just feels so perfect on that key. But moving on, these, excuse me, home, end, and page up, these three buttons are always buffs. The only time that changes is for end. But page up specifically is always my booster. You could look at any goddamn one of my characters and you will always, that's probably the most consistent thing about me ever, is that page up is always my goddamn booster. It doesn't matter if it's a mage class, it doesn't matter if it's bowman, warrior, no matter what it is, page up is my damn booster. And that's just the way it is, that's the way it's gonna be, and it just feels right. Whenever I think of page up, I feel like I'm just becoming faster because it's always my booster button. And obviously up here, I forgot to mention, I think this is scroll lock. Scroll lock is my screenshot button, as it is for many people by default. And you can't move that around, so yeah. But home, for all my bowman classes, it's, home is pretty much my first job, that first job buff you get. So like for thief classes, it's haste. My home button will be haste. For bowman classes, it's soul arrow, your soul arrow skill, so that'll be my home button for bowman classes. Home is just that one first job button you get. That's the first place I sign my first buff. So like cannoneers, it'll be that, monkey something. I think it's monkey blessing or something like that. But so yeah, home is always my first buff. End, it will always be my second buff, or in some cases, I think with warriors, since they have rush, rush feels better on end to me, and so I'll have rushing skills on end. Even I think my Shadower has his rush skill on end. Shadower's rush skill is probably like Miss Fulheim or something like that, some weird name. But yeah, if it's not a rush skill, it's gonna be my second buff that I get. And like I said, page up, always my goddamn booster. Page down is kind of my flexible pick. It's very, very, very rarely a buff skill for me. The only time it's really a buff skill is like for like pirates, since they have roll of the dice. Roll of the dice will always be there, page down, or it'll always be my puppet skill, or the anchor skill that pulls mobs to it. So it's kind of like a puppet button slash roll of the dice button slash it's just like a flexible kind of button that I use for skills along those lines. So it's kind of a buff button, but at the same time it's kind of like that utility button for me, and it's super super useful, that button, and it's always flexible. It's not something that changes too much, but it is one of those buttons that I do change up from time to time, from class to class. So that's pretty much my keyboard layout. I hope you guys didn't find this too boring. I like giving background on my decisions. I'm not one of those people that just fucking put stuff everywhere and don't have any reasoning behind it. So I like to have reasoning behind everything I do. Sometimes I do make stupid mistakes still, but that's you know whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. Sound like Hannah Montana and shit, but anyway. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my little story about my keyboard and my buttons. And yeah, so that's how I push my buttons. Feel free to let me know how you push yours. And until next time, guys, this has been a Sorrowful production. See you on the next one. Deuces. If you liked that last video, why not click another? And I'd appreciate if you subscribed.